Okay. Okay. I think we're good now. Third time's the charm. What's up, guys? Yeah, it's just like 1080p doesn't like it. I wish it could be a little crisper, but we'll sort that out later. We have some 3D printing to do. All right. So, let me share my screen. First of all, all right. Welcome to Blackfire's desktop. I'm gonna go into Blender. I started this a little bit earlier, so here's what I got in mind. And if anyone has, better idea, by all means. But I have kind of already committed to this, so it's a cell phone stand, much like mine's on it, much like this one, 3D printed. So I figure, my friend had said you need to print something practical. That people are actually going to use. So I can turn on a little bit of music here. But he said you want to print something that's practical that people are going to actually use. Sorry, what was that? Oh, it's an email. All right, sorry. Still kind of working. So anyway, what we're gonna do is a cell phone stand. Everyone could use a cell phone stand, and this thing's awesome. Have it on the desk. Now, I couldn't find that particular one, so I'll show you. Yeah, we don't have to save this. Blackfire phone stand. Check this out. We're not quite done. But so this is the phone stand. So you can be upright, or you can be kind of on a 45. So, and anyone watching the stream, if you can hear me, if everything's good, it's not glitching out. This is like the 4th time I've tried to run this, so a confirmation would be great. I think it's okay, based on what I can see. So anyway, this is what we're gonna do. So I went ahead, I used Inkscape, which is like a free Adobe Illustrator, and I drew the outline of the flame logo, and now we're gonna go ahead and do this is Blender, by the way. It's like a free AutoCAD type, design software, and I know very little. Everything I know is from YouTube. But I did learn, if you want to cut something out, you go to this little wrench, which is the modifier section, and then you're gonna select Boolean, like Boolean logic. And this is kind of and, or, that sort of thing. That's Boolean. So we want to select this object, and now we're going to do the difference of this object. And we're going to hit apply. Now, actually didn't really need to duplicate this. Now, if we grab it, slide it here, boom. That's sick, right? And this saves me a little bit on plastic and printing time, because these are, I didn't think about how it's going to print though. And we'll get to that in a second here. But man, I didn't really consider how, as cool as that is, that's going to be fun to print. So I was going to put one on this side as well. I think I might have to print these standing up. All right, so let's rotate this over the, what's this axis, the Y? Oh, no, wrong way. This way? Yeah. Alright, so let's get this back to 0. Nope. Alright. So let's -90. Rotate that upside down. Yep. Positive 90. Perfect. Actually, there's a bit of an angle here, so we're going to just hit R, do the rotate, and then what I like to do in this situation, slide it over to here. We're going to rotate that So we get a nice, just kind of clean shot through it. Now we want to scale this. It's probably too big. Yeah, it kind of looks too big. Just kind of want like a smaller one on this side. Now, yeah, I don't think there's any rotation that way. Let's just make sure. Yeah, kind of want like a. Now let's grab this. Now, slide it. There's any rotation that way. Grab it and slide it up. Half of this program are hotkeys. That's what I learned. I tried to just download this when I was like, oh, Blender, free? Cool, yeah, I'll figure it out. Most of the stuff you do to be efficient at all is via hotkeys. Like, so this is middle, this is mouse 3. This is pressing down on the scroll. If I hold shift and press down on the scroll, I can pan. If I hold alt, press down in the middle and then swipe, I can swipe to these angles. So with this angle, you can do that, and then, man, my arm. Oh, by the way, do you guys like the new camera angle? I changed it up. The thing I'm most proud of is anywhere you look in the shot, there's something going on. You know, questions to be raised. Oh man, did you guys hear that? Did the mic pick that first? All right, so now I'm gonna grab this measurement tool, and this is just to kind of get a. Oh yeah, I have to drag it just to get an idea of how centered that is. There's probably one of you out there who uses this. Probably like, you're an idiot, Blackfire. Just hit mouse 3. Hit mouse 3, and then it will bring up a. And then you can center it. Ooh, that's not too bad. I bet what you can do, which would be really nice, is like pin those, you know? I think we need to go back just a little. Little more. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay. So now we're gonna actually need to grab this and go down a little, because now we need to grab it and go over. What's up, Camden? What's up, Slukrin? Wait, Slukrin. What's up? Designing. These are for you guys. The first 50 followers are gonna get this dope phone stand I've been working on today. Oh, that could be a little bigger now. No, doesn't need to be that size. Kind of do want it to match in terms of how much space it takes. Hopefully, and you guys can confirm, if you like say something, I'll say something right back. I turned off the delay for this, so you don't have to experience. I will have to have a delay on, unfortunately. I've noticed for Counter-Strike, because people are ruthless. Although it seems like a great way to get people watching the stream. Like, they're like, oh, we'll stream snipe this guy. All right, cool. So now, just like we did with the other side, we're gonna click on the base model, do a Boolean. It's already set up. It's already on the wrench, the modifier tab, because that's what we did last. So we're gonna go to Boolean, and then sorry. Realized that wasn't open. I was like, if you guys haven't been able to hear me this whole time, I'm an idiot. Alright, so we got this Boolean difference. We're not adding them together, and we don't want to just keep where they intersect. So we're going to do the difference. We select that path. Yeah, it should be the right path. There's only so many objects here. And hit apply. Now, what we can go ahead and do is just delete it. Oh. Is that cool? Should probably have my name on it, but I don't know. Did we put, should it say like Blackfire at the top, but don't, not go through, just like, you know, kind of like a little recess, like a little cutout? So I think we could do that. Here, let's just move over here. Now we're gonna go add text. All right, so G to grab it. I'm gonna rotate it. I think I can snap it if I hold control. Oh yeah, I just go over here. 90. Text. All right. G to grab it. Rotate it. I think I can snap it if I hold. Oh yeah, tap. So it's like edit mode. All right. So it's black fonderie. It's funny. I was telling my wife. Oh, that is the one. I was telling my wife that back in the day, I don't know if you guys remember, probably maybe you do this now, but you could take like a text document and get Windows or a Mac to read it. Like, one day, boom, 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 a boy crossed the street. My dog was outside. But when we would do that for, you know, shits and giggles, Blackfire, if you ever wrote in Blackfire, it was like Black Fonderie. So, so for a long time, from age like 14 to let's say 16, rather than Blackfire, my friends online would just call me Black Fonderie. So totally acceptable. This looks like it says Blackfire, but we need to go to, yeah, it's over here, the text editor, and we can change the font. Now, is that where we do it? Where do we change the font? See, nothing is simple in here we go. Let's go back to Blender. Yeah. Oh, can I remember it? There was it. Oh, that one. Oh no, that was what I had used for something else. I mean, that's kind of cool. I don't think that's the one. I don't think that's the one. Whoa, that's classy. Maybe too classy for me. If anyone's got a I forgot to tell my son we were live streaming. What would be we're going on 520. Let's see what Gothic. That's actually kind of cool. I think that's fine. And then how do we, oh, we're gonna have to find Gothic bold or something, right? Boom. I like it. I like it. Oh, that's cool. All right, now we need to extrude it. Oh, no. I think the next step is to extrude it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, now grab this, just put it there, get it close. Oh, wait. Can I still? Can I? This should really be an X, huh? That has to be an X. Oh, cool. I didn't know I could do that so easily. All right, now we need to get that angle a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's fine. Now let's make sure our sides are roughly, it's like 1.2. Oh. Yeah, that should be, actually, no, it needs to go a little bit upward. Yeah. Alright, now here's what we do. Same thing as before, but now I don't have it all the way through. So we go to our wrench. We go to Boolean, difference. Oh, we need to, this thing first, we need to convert this to a mesh. That's one of the main issues when it comes to 3D printing something. You go, look, it's three-dimensional. And all of the things connect, but that doesn't mean that it's a mesh. And I'm the wrong person to ask about what that exactly means. However, I know it's not an actual object. It's kind of like you just took some cardboard, some shapes, you lined up all those shapes, and you're like, look, it's a fort. It's like, nah, dude, you need tape. You need to make it, it's like making it one piece. All right, so let's apply. And now, just like before, we can delete it and check that out. Subtle, I'm not trying to flaunt anything. I think the fire is the real grabber here. I think that's pretty dope. Let's go ahead and save. And now we're gonna export as an STL file. Stereo something. I really should be saving these in my 3D printing. Actually, yeah. Alright, we got our phone stand. Now, we're going to open up Cura. Cura, so like when you guys have a, if you even have, in today's day and age, a 2D printer, a paper printer, otherwise known as, you probably have to download, if your computer doesn't maybe already have stock software on it, you probably have to download like the HP printer software or whatever it's called. What that software is doing, and where you could see your print queue, you know, what's printing next and how many things are backlogged because your printer's not working. What that software does is it takes the image, whether it's a picture or you know, a Word document, and it slices that image two-dimensionally. It slices that image. And when it does that, so if you put it on fast draft, you know, it slices the image in larger chunks. You know, think of it like a thicker layer height. Like it's going, not layer in terms of off the paper, but it's up, down. They're going to be thicker. And so you can actually see the banding, you know, kind of thing, if you put it on fast draft. However, you put it on best quality or whatever, you know, for a picture, then it's going to slice it very, very narrowly. So it's going to pick up all the detail that it can. 3D printing is no different, except it's not HP printer software. In this case, I'm going to be using Cura. So I'm going to grab that file we just exported. There we go, there it is. Okay, and now I'll bring Cura over here, but I'm gonna drag and drop it into my build space in Cura, which is my HP printer software, so to speak. And here we go. And oh, I think I had my units a bit off there. So we're gonna scale it. So I believe it's off by just 100, or it just needs to be 1,000. So let's just do that off there. So we're gonna scale it. All right. So our model, nothing wrong with it. We would know. I guess we wouldn't know exactly yet. I have to preview. So now that we have preview, I'll bring the settings over here so you guys can actually see them. It's not my face. So now, just remember I was talking about slicing the paper, or slicing the image that you want to print two-dimensionally on paper. This has done that three-dimensionally. Those are your layers. And rather than something just sweeping across in one go, it's going to have to do something like this. I can hit play. Nozzle is going to do that first, then it's going to do this little squiggle. Oh, this is a support structure it's doing. You see those? Those aren't actually going to be a part of the phone stand. Those are just there because the settings, you know, for particular reasons, have identified those locations as needing some kind of vertical support. If only you could, oh my gosh, this is an idea. If you could print, 3D print in 0 G's, 0 gravity. We must have a 3D printer on the space station. Oh my gosh, you wouldn't need supports. That would be sick. So anyway, this is what it's gonna do on layer 342. Now here's the issue. You guys see how long this is gonna take? It would take, I don't know, 50 divided by 3. Is that like, call it 14, 15, a little over 15, so like 16, 17, between 16 and 17. It would take between 16 and 17 days of non-stop printing if I wanted to print it like this. So that's not how we're gonna print it. For instance, you see the layer height? This is kind of like, you could set this up. Don't let this intimidate you if anyone wants to get into 3D printing. You could set this up to where you don't see all of these settings, and it literally would be like your HP printer software, where it's like fast wrap, normal, best quality, and it would pre-assign all this stuff. I've been doing this for a little bit, and as I've run into issues, learned about more and more settings that I sometimes change. In this case, most of them are all good to go, but we are going to change a few. So that layer height is the biggest determiner of that time. So we're actually going to print this at 0.3, initial layer height 0.3, and a 0.5 line width. Now let's see. All right, so we cut it basically in half by printing a little bit blockier. Looks like everything is still resolving though. We still see all of these features. And it's going to be just fine for a large object like this. The other thing that's see, we do need support right there. That's gonna, see if I go to that layer, that's something that would jump out at you, right? Because if we go down, look what's happening. It would literally get to layer 202 and print in midair. If I turn off the supports here, check it out. Oh, what's my infill too? No, that's about right. A lot of settings, with a lot more settings than a 2D printer. But yeah, unless we figure out a different direction to print this, look at that. That would just print in the middle of nowhere. You think it's gonna stay there? In 0 G's it would. But no, well maybe. If it has no other, if it has no other external forces, but even just it going down is gonna give it some amount of, you know, momentum or inertia. So anyway, I don't know if the 0 G thing is even feasible, but look, that took us down to 3:30, 3 hours and 30 minutes, not having to deal with the extra support structure. Honestly, I don't think there's any way around it. Like, I don't think if I turn it on its side, it's gonna be any better. I think we're still gonna have support needed. It's gonna get down, like that's all fine. See, it would just grow. But what about there? Not so fine. So I think support structures are gonna be a must. Yeah, let's make sure. So before we're gonna go ahead and print a test run of this, and before I start, I'm gonna fill this build plate with as many as I can when I start printing these for you guys. For those of you that just joined, this is the gift I'll be sending out to the first 50 followers. If you were one of the lucky first 50, Cool little Blackfire phone stand we just put together. So, and now we're about to 3D print it. We're gonna get a test run. So let's see. Let's just go through the support settings. All right, so it does have support structures everywhere. It looks like they wouldn't be touching anywhere, but 60%. I'm just kids running around the house like a madman. Hey, what did I just say, man? Oh my God. Excuse me. Okay, so we got over. So yeah, we have more support structures now. We raised the time on it, but that'll really, maybe that's a bit much. Let's go back to, what was it before? 60. Excuse me. 20%. That's the density of the support itself. Probably click on it. So that's how dense this is going to be. If we were like, so those lines, so if we raise that to, let's say 50%, it's going to do extra lines there. I don't think we're going to need more than that. That these should all be just fine. We have a, oh, this isn't good. So that distance, the Z distance, is how close your support will be to the actual print that you want to keep. You do not want this to be less than your layer height. So we did a 0.3 layer height, so we're going to want to make sure that the print itself that we want to keep is at least 0.3 above the support structure. Good. And this interface, I like this interface. If you look closely, you see those light blue. So I can actually specify those to be a higher density than the support itself. So whereas the support I've made 20%, when it gets to actually supporting the object, it's going to go to a 100%, and this will break off so cleanly. It'll be really cool. This is what we can definitely, that's why it's narrowing like that. Watch, you'll see it. It won't. Oh, whoa, did I do it the opposite way? I want a lower angle, the angle of the rooftop of the narrowing like that. Higher. Oh, here we go. You'll see it. It won't. Oh, whoa, did I do it the opposite way? That 2. Put it back on 2. I don't know which one affects which one. Yeah, that's fine. This, see some of these, that one's gonna hit something quickly, but some of these I am a bit worried about. This must, yes. There we go. So we do want this to be, 3 looks good actually. And that should narrow in, but see that's narrowing in so much. Maximum. See what happens if I do, see that can't be lower. Can it be higher though? No, that just made these things huge. All right, we're gonna leave it at that. We're just gonna leave it at that. See what happens. We don't need any mesh fixes. Don't need to do anything with that. So what are we at? Almost 5 hours. This is still gonna take a long time. Okay. Now we need, I'm sorry, I don't have the second cameras yet. So, well, I'll do it on this one though. Am I on the right printer? Crap. Did I put this on there? Yes. Okay. So there's 2 printers and it would change the settings. All right, so we're good to go. .3D print gun. not a real gun, but it's supposed to work like a real one, even eject bullets and everything. I heard something else. Alright, so we need to grab our, how much, it's the other thing, so we need 22 meters of filament. You see down here, 66 grams, 22 meters of filament. Yeah, I think I have enough in that one. Sorry, I still have a leftover thing on here, piece of plastic. Sometimes it's best if you have a removable build plate like this. Sometimes it's best to take it off so you don't, unintentionally damage the 3D printer hitting it. Alright, so build plate is good. We're gonna take some glue, showing the mic. We're gonna take some glue, your standard glue stick. And I'm just gonna give the middle just a nice even coat over it. And one more pass over it. And now you need to turn it on. Almost everything you do is with a micro SD card. I already had one in my little reader here. Hold on. Pop this one into the other printer. And there, I should have noticed. Save the removable drive. So we're gonna go ahead and save that. Hey, be cool. Alright, so we've saved it. Eject. It's ready. Pull it out here. This has it on it. Pop it into the printer. And boom. So it begins. Man, I wonder if I can use my phone as like a remote. Hold on. If I plug my phone in to my computer, well, it really doesn't. Alright, it knows my phone's connected. If I add a video, or what would it be called? Yeah, it'd be a video capture. Add news source. Call it the Pixel 5. Don't think it's gonna show up on my list of devices. I'd probably have to do something on my phone, huh? Do you guys want me to just turn off the music? Is that annoying, or do you like it? Let me know. Alright, screw that. Alright, so what I'll have to do is, here's what we'll do. When it starts going, it's heating up here. It's going to get going in just a second. When it starts going, I will pull up the video and show you guys. That's all I got right now. That's all I can think of. All right. Get this ready. We're gonna watch it. Oh, you always watch. If you get into 3D printing, never forget, always watch the first layer before you walk away. You'll hear that you never should leave a 3D printer unattended, but that's crazy. I mean, this alone is like a 4.5 hour print, and sure, I might sit here for another 4.5 hours, but likely not. And some of these prints are 12, 24 plus. I've had 30 plus hour prints. So with a 30-hour print, you're clearly not overnighting it, or you're not putting your 3D printer in your bedroom. Unless you're a college kid or something, and it's like, I live in a dorm, then by all means, you're basically there watching it if you're running a 30-hour print. But otherwise, if you're confident in your settings, you've printed a lot, you can watch, as long as you watch that first layer go down, you'll know what to look for. And I'm gonna film it here, and then I will show you guys, because we don't have a second camera yet, but it's starting. Just in case you can't hear me on the mic, it looks like you can, but this is gonna go over. It's really low right now, and we're gonna see a bunch of filament purge out of it. Grab my tweezers. Oops. Not purge. There we go. See that real line's coming out. That should be 0.3 millimeters in height. See that stuff hanging from the tip? I want to grab that. Very hard to do all, you know? There we go. See? Got it caught right there on the edge, and now we got a pretty clean looking nozzle. So it typically starts with the support structure. It's super fun, guys, I know. Just wait till you see the video. Because it's way more exciting. So see, it's going to do our first layer. So if here, I'm trying. Oh, snap. Not bad. If I can get it to... Okay, alright, there we go. Got that film. So what it's doing right now is this layer, and as long as this all goes down very smoothly, it's going to do a couple passes around the outside just to make sure, like you'll see, I have to clean off the nozzle. 3 passes. Now it's going to do that, and it's going to get started on all these little support structures, and then that is going to be the only thing that is part of the end product, the only thing on the first layer. It's just that, and then we're kind of going on an angle. Let's see. I'm gonna figure out how, in the meantime, or I'm just gonna buy a camera. I'm gonna figure out how to secondary live stream my phone, and where you can just drag and drop, or I'll just drag and drop that right here on the stream so you guys can see this, because it's kind of lame for me to like describe and for you to hear me describe this. The camera's actually not set up in a bad spot right there. You can see the phone. It's really capturing the nozzle printing. See how that layer's looking? Just about done. Now it's doing that final, the green and red. It's doing that part right there. And sometimes you'll see a support structure go down, and then it basically gets picked up, or you'll see it kind of warping on one side. It's like that's gonna snag on the next pass. So that's what you're looking for, especially with these small, you see these small little islands. where there's not a lot of meat, you know, there's not a lot of plastic going down. You're not as worried about this big stuff. So that's why we made those a little bit bigger, and we changed it to 5mm tower size or something like that. But we're good. We're on to the next layer. I'll go ahead and stop that video and see how it looks. All right, so this will upload in just a second. How's everyone doing today? It's Tuesday. Just chilling, just hanging. Camden, Slukrin, how are you? How are you guys? Good, I hope. Come on, Google Photos. Cool, I made it, I made it. Probably on layer 2 at this point, to be fair. All right, we're trying to upload. Soon enough, gents, soon enough. So, is that a no comment on the new camera angle? No comment, no feedback. And do you guys like the phone stand? Am I about to waste 22.19 meters of filament and then find out you guys all hate it? Well, you do, I'm gonna use it. Dude, this in red? Or, well, I'm sorry, my colors are orange and blue. The orange I have is a little light. I'd want kind of a more, here, you guys might be able to, no, I'm not gonna fuck with it. A USB cord is finicky on this GoPro. If I mess with it too much, it'll, I hope everyone had a great Tuesday. Work, at least in Central America. I always say that. The Central Time Zone of North America. Here in Central America, you're in Illinois, dude. That's Central America. You think you're gonna believe it? But it's the workday is, you know, it's officially over, technically. So unless you're an exempt employee or on salary or something, you know, you can tell your boss up. You're in school and you have a paper to write, though. That's a whole nother thing. Probably should write that paper. Work on that homework. Do the math. Get it done first. Let's see. Let's see what layer we are on. Oh, check this out. If you're just joining. Pretty cool, right? It's a phone stand, in case that wasn't obvious. All right, we are 1.2 millimeters high. So that's what, 4 layers, because we did. All right, this is where we're at, guys. Yeah, 3D printing, it's super fun, obviously. I'm into it. But once you're confident with your settings, once you have it right and you let it go, kind of over. You know, like it's not the most glamorous thing to watch. However, I do want to get cameras so we could throw it up there, because sometimes watching a 3D printer go is, you know, a lot more fun than watching me, especially if I'm sitting at a menu, you know, per se. So we are, oh, we're at 1.5. We're now on the 5th layer. Now you see here, we're gonna start doing some infill. So it's not gonna just be a solid, see this was solid, solid. Once we get to the 5th layer, we're starting to kind of open this up because we did a 20% infill. That saves some of our plastic and allows us, it's still great strength with this, this cubic formation it puts in here. It's basically the Star of David. Do you guys see that? See that? Kind of cool, right? Never noticed it for a while. Here we go. Fills, 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 and then as it gets to the top of, you know, an outer kind of skin, it's going to start doing solid fills again. But this is what we're going to see happening here. And hopefully these support structures work out and they're able to, where we do have some massive overhangs. I think it's this one. No. Oh, it's this little one right here, where we do have big overhangs like this little shark fang looking thing. Hopefully that catches it. See that? Hopefully that catches it. If this tower breaks, I have to stop the print. And then we have to do something to the support settings, give this tower a bit more meat, a bit more, you know, durability or strength, and then we'll be able to go again. Oh, this was the one we had been looking at. Yeah, this guy comes out of middle of nowhere, and it starts on a pinhead. That also worries me, because like, really, we're gonna build this off of that, and it's gonna keep going up, 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 and we really can't ensure the integrity or the strength of this until that point, until we, well, maybe another one, until we actually connect, you know, with something that has a lot of support under it in terms of the product or the part. This is gonna be my biggest worry. This one, look how much. I mean, it's going up on the support quite a few times. Yeah, it might start on a pinhead, but now it's coming out more kind of lateral or kind of vertical support here to the side. So this one, I have no worry about. That one is crazy. That whole thing is on that point. And we won't really know until, you know, layer 100 is when it starts doing this. So it'll be a little bit. Let's see how that upload's coming, and then I can show you guys a glimpse into the, oh, we're like 75% there. This might go a little past 6 o'clock. So if any of you were trying to fit me into your busy schedule and you only had an opening, this 1 hour, this was all you had, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to see you go. But once that uploads, I'd love to show you guys if it's of any quality. I thought it looked okay, but I was also trying to use tweezers, and it's a hectic moment. Like, you don't have to do anything to your 2D paper printer. Like, once it starts, you don't have to like get in there or, you know, clean the laser nozzle. You know, you have to do any of that. With a 3D printer, you do. And once it starts, you really want to watch how the filament comes out and grab what you might need to. Yep. Oh, it's looking good, guys. It's looking good. Let me just snap a quick photo of that. I'll just show you like this, if that's of any. Oh, that's really annoying. All the little islands are separated. Oh, it's almost done. Almost done. Whoa. That's my temporary mute button. This part specifically, Mike, 4 hours and 45 minutes. And this is like, you could call this, the support structures here, which will snap off at the end. Those are what are adding a good chunk of time. Because if I go, where'd my settings go? If I go back to my settings and turn off the support, just a bunch of unnecessary, oh, is this on an angle? Oh my gosh, we could save ourselves some time right here. Oh my gosh, that might even fix our little, what's happening? Oh, hold on. There we go. Yeah, I was kind of curious why there was only that one spot. See how much, oop, gotta go a little bit back. That should be on the ground. 100%. The first layer, that should be on the ground. There we go. All right, so yeah, both of those should start on the ground. So the next time we do this, we'll do that. Up, up, up. Oh my gosh, we don't really need any supports yet. Are we gonna get the hanger? Yep, there it is, both of them. Just floating in midair. That's why we need the supports, and it's really because, Mike, of the flame thing I put in here, because this is meant to print on its side. And you would need no supports. I bet it would be done in 2 hours, which would be super ideal since I'm printing 50 of these. But we're gonna need those supports. So let's see, we go from 3.5 hours, which isn't half bad, to 4.5. So the supports add an hour. This will be a much better. See, we even have more girth, I guess might be the right, little bit. We have a little bit more to the side on this. I don't know, that's still kind of crazy to me. If this one works out, if that works out, look at that. I mean, like, your printer has to be perfectly leveled for this to work. Because any off level, if it hits into the previous layer just a little bit further, or a little bit, you know, if the layer's like this and the nozzle kind of pushes that side of it as it's going around, it's going to snap off. No, that, no, if I plug in the printer, you could print, like, rather than saving to disk here, it would say send to printer or something like that. I can't remember because I don't do it anymore. Anytime if you have to reboot your computer, the print's over. So and as I started to see in the community online as I got into it, because when I first started looking into it, you know, we didn't do is that'll be fine. Everyone was saying like, oh, I just use a micro SD card as I was looking up tutorials or whatever on how to connect it with a USB because it just didn't seem to be working. But I finally got it working, and then my computer would like reboot in the middle of the night and the print would be over. And I was like, all right, we're not doing that anymore. So now that my settings are good, because that's the real advantage when it's plugged in, you'll do these little test prints. There's all sorts of them out there, and for all sorts of different types of tests. But if you're doing rapid fire, like 8-minute prints, or I had some test prints that were like 30 seconds. So it's like, I want it plugged in so I can print, go look at it, be like, nope, change a setting, print, go look at it. So yeah, but no, I typically print from a micro SD card, which means everything about how this part is gonna print is set in stone. I could change on the printer itself a few settings, like speed. I could certainly go in and be like, you know what, I bet my settings, usually it's kind of settings dependent, but I bet my settings could handle a higher speed. Usually if you have a higher speed though, you're gonna also have to adjust the temperature, which is another thing you could do on the fly. I could also do, it's called a baby step in the Z direction. I could tell it, oh wow, it's not close enough to the print bed. That's why you watch the first layer too, because if it's going down and the nozzle isn't like squeezing it out, like really pushing it down onto the build plate, if it's just kind of like loose, like lightly putting down a what looks like a noodle, it's not going to stick. It needs to push it onto the build plate. So if you notice that as it's going around that first, thing, I can go onto the printer itself, go to baby step or Z height or whatever it's called on your printer, and just by a fraction of a millimeter, go down, down, down until I see this nice layer. It's really easy to notice this if you're doing like, I'll show you like this kind of, it would be a little bit wider, but like a wider patch like that, if that was all flat, what that looks like on an angle would be very indicative of how well you have your nozzle positioned from the build plate. Because if you can see humps, it's way too high. You're getting these, cylindrical print coming out, the plastic's coming out like a tube. If it's way too low, you'll see this. And at each crease, you'll see these little creases because the nozzle's so low, it's just cutting into it. But if it's almost shining, if there's almost a reflection off of it and you can hardly see the lines, it's perfect. So something you look for like on a first layer, like almost here, like you would be able to see that, or at least on the first one, you'd be able to see it. But yeah, it looks like this might be our best print time so far. Let me see if I can pull up that video. It's probably done. I won't.
Just in case you can't hear me.
Yep. Because I'm pretty sure you guys could hear me. But really? That wasn't filmed in 360p, bro. All right, so see that? I don't know if you can even see. There's a little bit of plastic right there. Oh, it might look better on the stream. I don't know. A little bit of plastic here. I'm gonna try and finagle the camera while it's doing this first layer. And what I'm trying to do is reach under with like a needle nose tweezers and just pinch that right off the nozzle. And at this point, I don't really care what any of this coming out looks like other than the nozzle height, but I'm pretty confident that that's set up okay. But what I'm really, because this is like it's like a purge, they call it a skirt. So this skirt goes around and around as many times as you want. I have it set to 3. We get it? And so we hit it enough that it came right off and stuck to that skirt, which is what we want. And then it goes out and starts doing its thing. And you can tell the nozzle doesn't have much. You're going to see a little bit of stuff because this nozzle is like 200 and actually it's about 200 degrees Celsius. So it's hot and stuff melts all over it all the time. But so I'm assuming there's a hefty amount of calibration that goes into this. Yes, for the most part. It's funny you say that. When I first got the printer, not this one, but my first baby here, when I first got it, I spent a month. Different nozzle sizes. This is a 0.4 millimeter nozzle. That's how big the diameter is. There's all sorts of nozzle sizes. But I spent a month playing with settings and trying to, I found on Reddit, obviously people share their profiles and stuff like that. So I was like, I want to make there's this thing called a benchy. I don't know if you've seen these. This is a benchy, as it's called. It's a tool for benchmarking your printer settings. So even on this one, great example. I don't know if you can see, there's some good, oh, there we go. See right here on the kind of captain's quarter, like there's some lines. It's almost like they're not that stuck together. They're just not that smooth right there. But anyway, I wanted to see if I could print this as fast as anyone's done, and look, usually the faster, the worse it's going to look. And that's just what you settle with. But I want to see if I can make something look this good and be this fast. So I spent a month playing with settings to the point where it's like I couldn't get anything to print. It was like I don't know what I did. So I went back and I went in Cura. I'm trying to leave this up here. And I literally, I was saying how we don't have to see all these settings. There's a lot of settings here. The reason why, we can hide any of these, and some I've probably already hidden because I realized I don't use them at all. But we can just go to, where is it? If we're not an expert, how do you do it? Here we go. So I have it on custom selection. So there's some things that's like, I don't mess with that. But if I turn this on basic, there's very few settings, relatively speaking. Just one or two, just a few, per category. You can even, most software will come with like an HP printer software. Like I want to do a normal mode. I'll just cancel. So like, I'm gonna do normal, I'm gonna do draft, that sort of thing. And it will just automatically change all these settings, which I'm not gonna have it do. But you can also create profiles as we have here. PETG is one type of material, PLA. I'm gonna do dual prints with this printer that's going actually. That has two different colors that come down. So my point being, I messed with my settings for a month, got so frustrated, I literally went to normal or something like that, selected yes, and I printed, and it came out beautifully. Like the Benchy was great. It took twice as long or so, but that's kind of what it. So there's settings that I've played with since then, and sometimes they're part specific, like whether you need supports or not. Or if you're doing something that has a point being, different details of parts might require different types of settings, to where in those first few months of 3D printing, I was all over Reddit and Google, and it was like, I went to, what did I do? Discard current changes, that's fine. Under settings. Yeah, here we go. So I would go to all. I want to see all the settings. And then I go through and be like, optimize wall printing order. Gives you this nice little description of it. And any that were a little bit more nuanced, let's say that's not necessarily one of them. I had this on sharpest corner too. So any settings that I was like, that might be what I need to fix this nuanced problem. I would go on to Google, type in, no skin Z gaps. What does that mean? And I'd find a great tutorial with screenshots about what Z gap is and what this prevents for Cura. Now, Cura is just one of, a dozen softwares out there that can be used to slice your 3D model. So it's not like you have to use Cura. Some people don't like Cura. They think this is too much. I think these are very easy to understand categories at the very least. Yeah, there's a lot in it, and there's a lot of things that maybe this can't do that, gosh, I don't even mess with any others. Prusa is a company out there that makes a 3D printer. They have their own slicing software. I've played with that. But yeah, the software can also kind of determine how easy or hard it is to get going. But in general, there's just a few things you have to do with the 3D printer, and then you should be good to go. Do you determine fill levels and support locations when you're designing, or does the program use that to figure out where to fill more? So the infill has got its section. So we can set the infill. Oh, why are we on that? Hold on. We must have changed some settings here. We're on a different profile, but yeah, you set the infill density. So we can see here, if I scroll down all that, if I change this to, let's say 50%, I could make it not cubic, but I could make it, triangles. But see how now we're at a 50% infill, and we raised the time considerably of that print from a 20%. Usually if it's like a model, something that's just kind of sitting there, you can do 10%. If it's something functional, like a slingshot, I bought like 50 of these, just the yellow thing, and it came with little metal BBs for like $12 on Amazon. This, I ran out of one color, so while it was printing, I forgot which way it was, but no, I think it's this way. So it was going. I'm like, I'm running out, and I quick put in white to finish it off. But yeah, this is a 35% infill. So the more it's gonna be, you could not break this. I would have to put everything I have, and maybe I could snap these off. But it can certainly shoot. You could definitely take out a bunny or a bird, or but yeah, something like this you're gonna want. What else is that? Oh my god, when we shot those, what were they, like a Nerf bow? Or it was like a bow we got from like the dollar store in the mall. And we go over to Games Workshop. And the funny thing was, didn't they know us because we went there on Wednesdays to do Warhammer? But yeah, something like that, you're gonna want like a 35 to 50%. There are things I've done at 100% just because I wanted them to be solid. There's also different types of filament. You can do like a nylon, a glass-filled nylon. Or no, I'm sorry, it was a carbon fiber-filled nylon. I've used carbon fiber-filled plastic. Actually, that's what the Iron Man helmet in the making is. I made all the parts of the Iron Man helmet out of carbon fiber plastic. And it does have a good look to it. Like, I think this would finish up really nicely. But it's not stronger. I thought carbon fiber filament was going to be significantly stronger, but yeah, it's such a low volume mixed in. It makes it, I'd have to pull up the spec sheet on the material, but it's just more brittle. It might technically be stronger, but if I drop this, yeah, it does look nice. But yeah, if I drop this, I'd probably snap. Like one of the cheek pieces has already snapped one side off because my youngest dropped it. But yeah, you determine, what was the other thing? It was infill and, supports. So supports are kind of twofold. You can, most of the time, like your supports are going to be determined by this, the overhang angle. So if I take that to, 40, now all of this is probably going to have support under it because it's like all of that is more than 40 degrees. Yeah, so it's just filled with support. So I go, that's a bit much, 10 hours per print. Typically like 55 is like a good angle. Most printers can handle an overhang that's under 55 degrees, no problem. Other printers can handle much higher, 60, 70. This kind of depends on your cooling. This does have 2 fans, so it's possible that I could be doing some higher angles, but the kind of idea there is if I can, with powerful fans, if I can super cool the filament as it's coming out at 200 degrees Celsius, it's gonna harden in place. So so like there's a setting in here called bridging. It's an experimental, but it's definitely used, bridge settings. So what this does is when I'm coming across some gap, like I have to make a straight line from here to there at this layer. I think we had actually a perfect example. No, it wasn't. That wasn't a good example. This doesn't really do any bridging. But if I'm gonna go at least 5 millimeters over empty space, use these settings. And those settings I've played with a bunch, but it's, that should be 90. I have it kind of slow down, and the coasting basically like lets some of the pressure out of the nozzle. And I have it slow down to 90%. And then I have it cross the bridge, do the bridge at a set like 40 millimeters per second, which is about what it runs at. But just if you go too slow, it's gonna droop. So like I kept raising the speed, and what you want is it gets to it and goes, and it just flies across the bridge, and it leaves behind that layer. And now then the skin is gonna be how it fills in that bridge. So one nice thing is you can do this flow. This changes how much of the material is coming out. So it's like, all right, whatever you were gonna pump out 50% of that. So now it's lighter on your bridge that you've created, the 2 walls. It has a lighter infill or a lighter kind of lower base or wall. and then it's going to do multiple layers. So then on the next layer, I have the skin go up to 75%, a little heavier. We're a little stronger at this point. And then on the third layer, oh, it looks like 110%. These settings are weird. I didn't set some of these. I don't know if, was I using this one? There, nope. Oh, that's fine. This doesn't even have bridge settings enabled. Well, anyway, that's bridge. But for the supports, yeah, you mostly set the angle. But the other thing you can do, which is pretty cool, is if I close this, this I recently kind of learned about. This setting here, actually, yeah, support blocker. So the name doesn't really help here, but what we can do is we can click like that, and it's going to put a block. Just this kind of invisible block. So let's say I only wanted supports in like on one side of this for whatever reason. What I would do here, let's say it's like I'm like this piece right here, man, that overhang is gonna kill me. So it's like I only want a support structure right there. Now I can click on the whole model. I can turn off supports. Turn off supports, and now click on this, and this tab over here, I can change this to, rather than a support blocker or whatever, I can do a modify settings for overlaps. So now I go to, it's a cutting mesh. Select the settings, I go to support, generate support, and now I get to change just the settings for anything that's intersecting these two meshes, which is just that spot, which means we're just gonna get support right there. So for some more complicated stuff, like when I did link, I manually placed all of the support. I noticed there was weird support going places where I was like, that's gonna be fine, but I need over here. But as I changed the angle, which is how you typically, you know, change support where it's going to be, as I changed the angle, once it was no longer wherever on the face or something, it was way too narrow of a tower on the arm or the sword. So it was like, really, I'm looking at it, I'm like, really, it's just the sword that needed support. And it was like maybe the back of his little hood, his little hat. So it's like turn off supports, manually place them on the hat, manually place them on the sword, and roll with that. And he turned out really well. I'm sure you saw it, but for anyone who did. And these are those acrylic pen markers. They're I did some of the detail work with an actual paintbrush, like the eyes, but yeah, I mean, he looks pretty good. So yeah, the hat, you see there, that farthest edge, actually I think it was the tip of the hat. It didn't really connect. It needed to have some support here, kind of under that angle. Oh, this is just looping. I was like, I didn't film this long. That's crazy. But yeah. So first 50 followers, get ready for a message. As I said, we're gonna, hopefully these are ready to go by the time I become an affiliate. I have to get the views per live concurrent views or something up, but. Yeah, now these, I have two different sizes. This I'll use for, I don't have as many colors of this one, but I'll use this for just, you know, doing an area. And these tips, they're pretty fine. However, you're not doing a pupil. You're certainly not getting an iris with that. So then what I'll use is like, I think there's a smaller one around here, but I'll use something like this and just get that tiny stuff. And I'll use the same paint actually. I'll just squeeze it out into like a dish like this, and then dip my paintbrush into it. It dries quickly though, as you might imagine, as like a marker paint would do. Or it is still acrylic, but they must add something to it so it's not so, ooh, it's not so watery maybe, but cool guys. I just got a notification that dinner is ready. So I need to leave the office man cave, leave you guys, and I'm gonna go eat. This has been super fun though. Mike, thanks for joining me, man. I hope you get into 3D printing. Jeremy, as I'm sure you know, has been into it. I did set up an Etsy, and then my company, I just actually had a meeting today about the, what's it called? Well, whatever it was. Yeah, so I don't know, because my company I work for does 3D printing. So it was kind of an odd place to be in. So we're sort of transitioning to the gaming / free 3D printing stuff, and any kind of free giveaways. I'll certainly be doing those here on the channel. So definitely stay tuned. Mike, good talking to you, man. We got to reconnect sometime here soon. Next time, I think you're up in Gurnee. Next time I'm up in Gurnee, I'm gonna hit you up. But yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of your early evening here. I'm gonna hop on later tonight. Until then, Blackfire says peace.